Welcome back to Lord Lore, the show where we go over all the Lord Lore, and happy 10th anniversary to Pure Heroine. Oh my god, 10 years? Are you kidding me? Sorry about being a little late on this. There was activitying, and I was out and about, but we are here now. New email is also here now, and look at how beautiful this is. The black, all the Pure Heroine font. You see, this is the kind of stuff I love. This branding that makes it so specific, makes you feel like you're in such a certain era. It is like very much not necessary. I honestly thought they were just gonna, or Lorde was just gonna do the classic kind of Solar Institute look and how those emails look, but this takes some effort, and I'm glad they did it. It looks really, really good. So let's start with the housekeeping from the last email, and check out my last video if you want kind of a synopsis of what this email was about. So Lorde said she might have a little bit of what she called an overshare hangover, where she feels like she might have told a little too much, but she knew she had to say something. That sounds about reasonable, you know, and she's thanking everyone for pretty much being kind and normal to her, which is good. Thank you for that. So yes, Pure Heroine turning 10 years old. I know I haven't talked about this album nearly as much as Melodrama or Solar Power, but my god, it is still such an experience and so much fun to go back to. If you want to hear more of my thoughts, I ranked every Lorde song twice, so if you want to go see where those songs would fall in, click the card on the top. Is that what you do? Yeah. So the first thing that she talks about here is 2 new shirts that she has, and these, honestly, they're not too bad at all. I like the Dare one, and I don't see myself wearing a lot of Lorde merch, but this one I could do. I mean, it's kind of funny. And then we have one that thanks some artist inspirations, like I remember David Bowie on there. It looks like Lana, Kanye even. People were like, oh boy, what is this all about? It really looks like she's thanking people who inspired this specific record for her. I'm sure she feels that this record wouldn't be possible without these people. So after that, she goes through a lot of different pictures from about 2011, 2013, and talks about how she was feeling during the time, what she was going through in her life. She emphasizes her room being a big inspiration for the album, and she really just like loves the look of her room at the time. It's very cute for her to reflect. So she talks about meeting Joel Little, a producer who helped her tremendously on Pure Heroine and kind of helped her develop into the musician she is today. So for this anniversary, they got on a call talking about the whole history of making this album, and there's a transcript of it. 24 pages. I was able to read it the most, and here is the highlights. So they connected over Grimes early on, and they talked about how her kind of melodies were very inspirational to Lorde. She kind of was trying to emulate those kind of sing-songy basic melodies, and personally I've never heard this specifically from Lorde. I think it's really great that she got inspiration from Grimes, especially early Grimes. They also talk about connecting over James Blake. This minimal kind of style inspired a lot of Pure Heroine. Lorde always tried to be like, oh, how much more can we strip away? How much more can we strip away from these songs? Another thing I didn't know anything about, and it's really just interesting, it helps kind of create this album or the context of this album so much more to me. And we get more and more of that when we see Lorde talk about the whole timeline of how this album was made. Now, of course, the Love Club EP was made before the album. It's actually interesting that she mentions that there was going to be a second EP that already had album art made and everything like that. That was going to be after the Love Club, but instead they were like, let's do this album, bruh. So, early in their time together, that's Lorde and Joel Little, they actually started to make some songs together, and the first one it looks like they made was $1 Million Bills. It was about week 1 or 2 into when they were together, and they made the song just being like, oh, let's make a song that's pretty much all around your voice. After that, they made 3 songs in 1 week, and that was Royals, Bravado, and Biting Down. Amazing! So interesting to hear it like this. I knew that Royals were early on, but just knowing that $1 Million Bills was one of the first thing they made, so interesting. I would have never guessed. So in early 2013, they talk about getting back together to work on a second EP, and Lorde says that she actually wrote Glory and Gore as the first song for that second EP. Shortly after that, they talk about writing Ribs, which was in February of 2013. So Ribs was supposed to be on the second EP too, which is really interesting. This and Glory and Gore feel so much like album cuts, I just can't imagine them on an EP. So during this time, stuff starts to really like ramp up, and Lorde takes some time off school to work on this album. This was at the point where they're like, okay, let's do an album, let's not do the second EP. And at some point they start to hit the wall. So pretty much Lorde takes some time off, and then when they come back, they write Team. They both felt like it was a little too poppy and almost like teetering on corny, but they end up making it, and now it's one of the most beloved songs of all time. I don't know about that, but if in her catalog, yes, definitely. And finally, A World Alone, the closer of that album, was actually the last song made for said album. It was also the only song that featured an actual instrument, which is, I think, a triangle? Ding ding. Those were the main highlights from the transcript and from this timeline that she made. Obviously, some songs are missing in there. I guess we can just speculate and wonder and think, use your brain. But yes, there's plenty more in that transcript, and you can go read it on her email page if you'd like to. A great note she has at the end is that Ribs kind of is inspired about this feeling of getting old. And she says, oh, I was feeling about getting old when I was like 15, 16, going to parties. And it's so interesting to hear that, because I know the second I started to feel old, and it made me really, really scared, and it was when I was 16, and just seeing that like happen at the same time in both of our lives it's really interesting, especially since mine is such a different catalyst. Mine was just when I was driving alone for like the first time. It just felt very, very weird and a little scary to just like finally be more of an adult. She ends the email with this really, really cute thought of just, hey, anyone can do this. I made this based off of like selfies and inspiration just from my hometown. You can do something as amazing as this and touch as many people like as I did. It's very cute, and I'm glad that she said some words for us and, you know, gave us some merch and did all this stuff for us, this cool branding. It was really fun to see all this, and thanks for watching, everyone. This has been Lorde.